Hello everyone, this is Counterspell Hater here, back with another EDH guide. We are continuing with the Myojin trend. So today we're looking at the black one, Myojin of Grim Betrayal. Same thing except just in black. Different ability involving the indestructible counter this creature gets from being cast from entering the battlefield when you cast it from your hand. So as usual, we still have that same problem of having to get it into our hand first, so then we can make use of the indestructible counter. Since the only way we can get it onto this is via casting it from our hand, really. But that is no problem. Once we get that going, then the rest of the deck kind of works. So let's get started with Cloudstone Curio. I didn't read this fully, so I didn't include it in the previous commander, but probably should have because it's a May ability. But so I would definitely include that in the previous one I did, and as you can see in this one, to help us return our commander to our hand, obviously. And since we'll be reanimating a bunch of creatures, we'll probably be able to do this a lot. Grim Discovery to get our commander, since we'll be sending him to the grave probably to get him back. This is going to be one of our ways. Again, so these are all just cards in here. So like Grim Discovery, Cadaver Imp, Wandering Death, Dutiful Return, Fortuitous Find, Cemetery Recruitment, Rate and Raise Dead, Cult in Another World, and Foul Renewal are all ways for us to get Myojin of Grim Betrayal back into our hand from the grave. So now let's get into the real stuff. Phyrexian Obliterator, just to get our opponents to sacrifice permanents. If it's not creatures, it's still gonna hurt them either way. Massacre Worm to like get rid of tokens, and possibly kill off like 2/2s of our opponents that are not tokens, and to get our opponent low since their creatures are going to be dying. Thought Gorger to, maybe help us draw some cards if need be, but also discard our hand real quick. Stinkweed Imp, Dredge 5, you know the deal. Help us, and this can help us destroy creatures on our opponent's side as well. Not to be confused with Death Touch. Phyrexian Dreadnought to allow us to sacrifice a whole bunch of creatures and then get like a 1 minute 12/12 with trample out. Pretty nice. Contagion Engine, and this was in the last video, so this thing is serving even more purpose. So this is not only to proliferate the indestructible counters on our commander in this case, but also to help kill our opponent's stuff, thanks to the -1/-1 counters that puts on each creature target player controls when this enters in. So that way we can kill off stuff and activate our commander multiple times. Extractor Demon for when our creatures leave the battlefield, like our commander and stuff. So that way we can just start milling ourselves, get more creatures in the graveyard. Because it doesn't matter what they're put from, where they came from, as long as they're put into their graveyard, they are eligible for being really reanimated by our commander. Ghoul Color Giza to build up an army of zombies in a hurry, if need be. Priest of Forgotten Gods, help us with mana, drain our opponents, have them sacrifice creatures, have us sacrifice 2, and draw us some cards. Yawgmoth, to make use of our life as a resource and the cards in our hand, and sacrificing creatures to Also help us in the process of killing our opponent's stuff. That way we can reanimate them later and help us discard. To proliferate, once again, putting more indestructible counters onto our commander. That way we can use its reanimate ability multiple times before having to return it to our hand. Whisper, Blood Liturgist. He's in here for a good reason, actually, because he can sacrifice 2 creatures to get another creature from our graveyard back onto the field. So say we wanted to reanimate a creature, but we can't with our commander because it died on a different turn than whatever turn we may be on. And we use Whisper here to sacrifice 2 creatures to get that creature back, and then get the other 2 creatures back with our commander's ability, along with anything else that may have entered the graveyard on that turn. Feign the Broker to help us power up our creatures, help us with mana, and even create creatures. Vile Entomber to get us something specific if need be, like if we need help with milling, like we get a creature, something like that. Archfiend of Spite, since we're discarding cards, of course we're gonna have like maybe a Madness card in here, but Madness doesn't not matter. What matters is that it's kind of like, it's mostly like I immediately forgot his name. Phyrexian Obliterator. I blanked out for a second. Yeah, Phyrexian Obliterator is how Archfiend of Spite operates. Archfiend of Depravity. Depravity, I think. So this is to really whittle our opponent's boards down. And I think if I'm correct, yeah, and so this ability right here, the second line of text, that's an ability that can be activated at any time. It doesn't say only on your turn. It just says at any time. It just says remove it. So that means after our opponents have sacrificed all their stuff, you can remove a indestructible counter from our commander, and then get all the non-tokens creatures that they sacrificed put onto our board. Should be very worth it. Archfiend of Ifnir to help utilize us discarding cards to, put stuff into our graveyard. This now helps with killing our opponent's stuff as well as we're discarding stuff. So nice. Bumizir to take advantage of all this discard that we're doing to create zombies. Help us with mana, or even draw us cards. Rankle, Master of Pranks, to do like essentially everything. Have everyone lose life and draw cards, discard cards, and even sacrifice creatures, so he covers a lot. The only thing he doesn't cover is mill, which even though he doesn't, Death does. So can, like I said, with Whisper, can get something back that we want but died on a turn that wasn't on the turn we may be on, and also mill that player that we pull that card out of their graveyard, if that makes sense. So we just pull it out of the graveyard, and then they also get to mill, which is good for us. So it's more creatures we can put onto our battlefield. So nice, and can get artifacts. Casket, Flesh Sculptor, help us sacrifice even more creatures or artifacts if we want, and then tutor through like top 3, help us smooth our draws in case we need lands or more creatures put onto our graveyard, whichever. Clackbridge Troll, start whittling at our opponent's boards on our combat, since this is a very scary creature. Help us gain life and draw us cards, and put more creature cards into a graveyard within a single turn. Deathbringer Regent, since our commander is going to have that indestructible counter, we can just cast this whenever there are 5 or more other creatures on the battlefield. Destroy everything that isn't indestructible, I guess. indestructible does not allow the creature to be destroyed. And then bring everything back that was destroyed that wasn't a token. So pretty cool. Necroplasm, essentially to do the same thing, just kind of on a daily basis, really. Not a daily basis, like every like few turn cycles, I should say. Eater of Hope helps us by allowing us to sacrifice creatures to destroy our opponent's creatures and regenerate itself for whatever reason we want. In case of a board wipe, won't save this from Cyclonic Rift, which if our opponent was to play Cyclonic Rift, then that'd be a bit of a mistake because then we are able to replay our commander with the indestructible counter on it, which, by the way, I would probably put Ozlith in here too, if I were you, because I did not. Knight Incarnate, great creature because you can pay its evoke cost, so that's immediately sacrificed, and then you can reanimate it again, resulting in everything within that turn. All creatures on the battlefield getting a total of -6/-6. That this would get -3/-3 because it wasn't around for the previous -3/-3. But to kill off a lot of creatures, it may kill off our commander because even if a creature is indestructible, if it has 0 toughness, it still dies. So be wary of that. Awaken the Erstwhile to get everyone to just discard a whole bunch of cards and create us a bunch of tokens. Our opponents may get some tokens, sure, but what matters is that they're discarding cards that could be potentially creatures, and that could be more stuff for us to reanimate. Zombie Infestation help us discard even more cards, make zombies, and give us even more value for when we choose to remove that indestructible counter from our commander. Sadistic Hypnotist, you can sacrifice creatures to it to have target player discard 2 cards. Then this can also get a lot of creatures into graveyards real fast within a singular turn. Woe Strider to help us smooth out our draws and in some cases make use of our graveyard through escape. That way, if it dies and we aren't able to reanimate it on the turn it dies with our commander, but we want it later, we can use escape to get it out of there. Champion of Stray Souls, just like I said with some of the others like Whisper, and who else was it? Oh yeah, Geth, Lord of the Vault. Just like with those types of people, same situation here. Sacrificing creatures to get creatures back that died on a different turn, at least from my graveyard, and this can come back by being put from the graveyard on top of our library. So that means that no matter what, we're going to be getting this back, even if it dies on a different turn. Butcher of Malakir, for when our stuff dies, our opponents are now going to start having to sacrifice stuff. So then that could be really helpful in just filling up graveyards nice and quick. Grave Pact to do the same thing. Dictate of Erebos, same thing again. Empty the pits, make use of Delve. We'll make use of Graveyard, I guess. Thought this was different, but whatever. Still though, we can exile a whole bunch of stuff from our graveyard if we didn't really want it, and then just create a whole bunch of zombies for whatever reason. Routing Regisaur, nice big attacker in the early game, and even a decent blocker, and helps us discard. Blood Vial Purveyor. So this is interesting because as our opponents are casting spells, they create blood tokens, which they can sacrifice and discard cards to draw cards. And if they don't, and if they let the blood tokens pile up, when a blood vile purveyor attacks that person, suddenly this guy's gonna be really big and when it comes to his power. And this has flying and trample too. So that means if our opponents don't sacrifice blood tokens and discard stuff, it could be the end for them. So it leaves them a choice of taking a lot of damage potentially, or having to discard a whole bunch, and by that a whole bunch of creatures, quite possibly, or just discard like important stuff in general, in order to keep themselves from taking too much damage from this creature. So interesting. Let me know what you think of that. Ashnod's Altar, sacrifice creatures to it to add double colorless, help with mana issues, that sort of thing. Lord of the Forsaken can really get a lot of creatures into our graveyard really quick. And then Altar of Dimension, the deal. And then we have Mirror in the Moaning Well, help us gain life, get us out of a pinch. Phyrexian Tower to help with mana. Blighted Fen to get our opponents to get an opponent to sacrifice a creature, which is Cottage. They to put our commander back on top of our library so that way we can cast it from our hand within a turn. Cabal Coffers and Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth combo. You can't go wrong with that in mono black or in any deck that runs black, really. And then you've got 44 basic swamps from there. And that is it. So this concludes the Commander Guide starring Myojin of Grim Betrayal. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe. We are only 2 subscribers away from 20, and we can do a 20-sub special, which give me ideas for that in the comment section down below. And while you're in there, if you're the first one, you can you just give me a suggestion on what commander you want to see, and I will and that commander will be done next video. Just be the first one, whether it's custom or legit, just as long as I can find it. Hit the notification bell so that way you don't miss more of my content. Watch my other videos that I've made in the past. Make sure to give me feedback anyways. I like seeing feedback, kind of been missing it. I've been getting it lately, but still, I'd like a little more. In fact, any feedback I can get from you guys is probably the best. And then, share this video along with other videos you may or may not have watched on this channel with others, so they can do the same. Listed, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.